Humanity's greatest threat in the 41st millennium are the ruinous powers, the Chaos Gods. And the one thing standing in between them and ruin has always been the Emperor. But could the Emperor of mankind actually be a Chaos God? The Warhammer universe is full of secrets, lies, and deceptions. It's what leads to a lot of interesting twists and turns and also allows for a lot of creative theories. And one of these creative theories is that the Emperor himself is actually a Chaos God. In this video, let's explore some compelling evidence that the Emperor could be a Chaos God, and watch till the end and try to guess if the Emperor was a Chaos God, what Chaos God would he be? There are many actions of the Emperor that are quite suspicious, and one thing that is clear is that the Emperor is definitely not human. The Emperor is a perpetual, which is an immortal human being who has great psychic and physical powers. He was born around 8000 BC, meaning he is over 40,000 years old. He originally kept his identity hidden, but was always influencing humanity through the shadows. The Emperor also displays omniscience similar to that of Chaos Gods. For one, he predicted the Horus Heresy and essentially planned for it. He was aware that his sons would betray him and turn to chaos. Not only that, there is a theory that the Emperor actually made a deal with the Chaos Gods for half his sons to turn to chaos. This is what allowed the Chaos Gods to permit the creation of the Primarchs. This could actually be seen as the Emperor making Primarchs for the Chaos Gods. Maybe the real deal was for each Chaos God to have their own Primarch, and the Emperor was the only one who could make the Primarchs for them. And what about this? Could the Emperor have actually gone along with the Horus Heresy to plan humanity's downfall? After he was slain, we saw that humanity gradually declined from the 30th to 40th millennium. We saw an increase in dogma, fanaticism, misery, and tyranny in the Imperium. And it could be argued that the Emperor has even more power on the Golden Throne than before. Sure, he may not have his physical body, but the Imperium now truly worships him as a god. His rule has become stronger, more unquestionable. Better yet, he cannot be faulted for the terrors committed by his church, the ecclesiarchy, or the Imperium, yet he could be secretly controlling them all, much like he was influencing Terra from the shadows in his earlier years. What's clear is that in the grimdark future of the 40th millennium, terrible atrocities have been committed in the name of the Emperor and even by the Emperor himself. The Emperor and his Thunder Warriors, who he later betrayed, united Terra through incredible bloodshed. What's funny is that the Emperor outlawed religion, but ultimately formed the greatest religion humanity has ever known. In his name, entire planets have been exterminated, which not only included the guilty, but the innocent. Life has become increasingly bleak and miserable for the average citizen. Technology and progress are outright banned, and the Inquisition will not hesitate to torture or kill citizens on a whim. This is terror and destruction that would make even the Chaos God Khorne envious. There is also the intense xenophobia in the population, which is interesting considering that the Xenos are the only things that don't worship the Emperor. So could it be that they are simply being wiped out as they offer no service to the Emperor? In fact, many Xenos are not a threat to the Imperium, rather it's the Imperium itself that is the threat. What may be even more impressive is that Imperial citizens see martyrdom as a great achievement and gladly give up their lives for the Emperor. This is similar to other Chaos Gods as well. They have loyal followers that will blindly do their bidding. So not only is humanity committing unspeakable horrors in the Emperor's name, they are doing it willingly and even willing to sacrifice their own lives. If that's not enough, the Emperor's life on the Golden Throne is sustained by the sacrifice of 1,000 Psykers on a daily basis. That kind of sacrifice would make any Chaos God envious. So if you made it this far, you might think, okay, so the Emperor is pretty suspect and has done a lot of terrible things. But Chaos Gods have demons, and that is correct. Chaos Gods do have many powerful and grotesque demons. But who's not to say that the demons of the Emperors are the people of the Imperium themselves? Not only are they the victims, but they are the willing perpetrators of the Emperor. So the Space Marines may not be the angels of the Emperor, but the demons. But we don't even have to stop there. There are entities that are given great power by the Emperor. An example of this are the Living Saints. Living Saints are individuals who have been revived by the Emperor only to return with great psychic power. They imbue those around them with holy fire and make them nearly invincible in combat. Living Saints also have great psychic abilities, being able to send out holy bolts and even fly. They also don't need to sleep, eat, or require shelter to survive, existing as a being of energy. Does this sound familiar to you? Well, it may sound similar to Chaos Demon Princes, a human who sacrifices their flesh to becoming something more powerful in service of their god. And both living saints and demon princes also have wings. And then there's the Legion of the Damned. The Legion of the Damned are a chapter of Space Marine that exists within the Warp. Their origin is not really known, but many theorize that they are the lost chapter of the Firehawks. They are completely silent, they appear out of thin air, and then disappear as soon as the battle ends. Just as the Chaos Gods are able to summon demons from the Warp, the Emperor is able to summon the Legion of the Damned. And while the Emperor may not have physical demons, he does have his loyal subjects who continue to grow in numbers and in power. But you may be saying, Chaos Gods manifest something. Khorne is violence, Nurgle is disease, Slaanesh is hedonism, and Tzeentch is deception. What does the Emperor of Mankind manifest? And that's a great question. Some say that the Emperor could be the Chaos God of Order, and if you really think about it, perfect order is quite devastating. We all need to have a degree of flow and freedom in our lives. Perfect order is actually tyranny, and the Imperium is one of the most tyrannical forces in the galaxy. They attempt to subjugate everything to the will of the Emperor, so he could be the Chaos God of Order or even tyranny. I personally have a theory that if he were a Chaos God, he would be the Chaos God of Pride, the pride of the Emperor's belief of his own supremacy, the ego of the individual, the selfishness of the human race. If you look at the actions of the Emperor and humanity, they have very little doubt and humility. They act as if they know it all, and it's their self-righteousness that causes so much pain. And I believe the root of this is their pride. And as they say, pride always comes before the fall. And that concludes one of the most controversial and, in my opinion, interesting fan theories of the Warhammer 40k universe. Also, shout out to my first Patreon ever, You the Man. Be sure to like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the content. Also, I'm very curious to see what are your thoughts on this theory of the Emperor being a Chaos God. Definitely leave your thoughts below in the comments. Also, be sure to join our Discord server, which is growing every day, where we share our minis, talk Warhammer, and also have giveaways. Thanks again for watching Let's Get Rolling, and we'll see you all next time.